Yeah, man, thanks a lot for wanting to do this. I wasn't sure what kind of response I would get.
No, and how's it been so far?
Oh, it's been great. It's been nice to actually talk to some of these people I've been watching for a while.
Yeah, yeah, no, it must be good because you've been doing it for quite a while, haven't you?
Well, I mean, the podcast has been like a month maybe,
Yeah, I
but
mean your normal covers channel that's been going for several years now, isn't it?
yeah, it's I mean, I don't even remember when. I mean, the channel's over 20 years old.
Yeah,
But yeah, when do you remember when you started your channel?
I mean my channel didn't initially start until around 2007, but I didn't start doing actual bass covers. I mean, it was quite limited on what I did initially start at. It was must have been around 2014. I got a Focusrite interface and started using that for some covers. And initially, I'd record into Cubase and then using another app, add the audio on top of the video separately afterwards, which was quite time consuming. And I never actually got it to line up 100% with what I was doing on the camera, which was always a problem. And also the quality wasn't amazing at that time, but it was, yeah, I got by with it. But I must have done, you know, maybe 5 or 6 covers at that point, and then there was a few years gap, and then I managed to get a roll and go mixer, which suddenly made everything worlds easier in that I could just plug the output straight into my phone and then record video with the audio going straight in like I'm doing now.
Oh, okay, I was going to ask what you did if you'd moved away from using the Focusrite.
I initially did. So I moved. It was one of the earlier Focusrite models where the actual quality was. I mean, it was okay, but it wasn't amazing. So I moved away from Focusrite and just went straight to the roll and go mixer. And I've even some of the more recent covers when my computer wasn't working. I just plugged it straight into the mixer, and yeah, the quality you can't really tell the difference, to be honest.
Yeah, no
Uh,
kidding. So you can you're running like the song off of your phone and you're recording from your phone.
so the I'll use my tablet for the song, which I'll put in
Okay.
mixer. It's got like a iPod input onto on that, and then I can mix or blend the input from the tablet against my bass till I've got a similar sort of level. There's about 3 channels on the desk, and then a master where I can um, just tweak it so I don't clip the audio and just play around with it that way.
But so then that way you're able to just kind of do audio and video at once.
Yeah, so
And
I haven't
it's
got well a massive amount of post editing to do video wise. The only thing I really do video editing wise when I do a short to save recording my long form video in landscape and then recording a separate portrait video for the short. I'll just record one video and then on a video editing program, I'll just get the template for a YouTube short and then just add a banner at the top and a banner at the bottom with the video in the middle so it all looks presentable and then just saves me time having to record 2 separate videos then.
right. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. So if you're so you're not recording a separate video for the short, you're just editing what you already recorded. That's what you
It's
said.
all live. I mean, there are a few videos that I've done where I've recorded and mixed it, and then when I've done recorded guitar as well. Um, I've done a couple of covers where I've got taken a couple of pop songs, found a drum track, taken the isolated audio track, and then just recorded guitar and bass over the top, and then added the audio in separately over the two videos. But most of my bass covers are just purely done recording live.
Yeah, and what are you using for editing program on your computer?
So I've got Pro Tools, but it's is it LE8? One of the earlier versions. My Mac is probably about 12 years old, to be honest, but I've disconnected it from the internet to save any nasty viruses getting in or anything, and don't do any software updates. I'm just running it, basically an older version of Pro Tools, and the plugins I've got are fairly limited. I use just basically the built-in EQ compressors. There's a nice Sans amp plugin that comes with it. I mean, I've got an actual Sans amp pedal as well, but the actual Sans amp plugin's quite good, and there's a few virtual guitar amps on there as well, which are, is it 11? Yeah, sure, it's 11 rack.
Okay. Yeah, I had no idea. I've only ever seen Pro Tools in studios. I've never used it.
Yeah, it was my father-in-law. He was using it. He bought it secondhand from a studio, and he had the whole setup at home. And it was, and then he was downsizing and got a Focusrite interface, and then he gave me all of basically the whole setup. It was a 48 input interface, and then the computer had 3 sound cards for the interface, and then I just recorded through that into Pro Tools. But recently I've been having issues with that interface, being that it's, well, best part of 15 years old now, and it just wasn't, it was clipping out. There was issues with the audio, and so I've removed that now, and I'm just using my old Soundcraft mixing desk, which has got a USB input into it now. And so far it's been running fine without any issues. So
Yeah, that's cool. I'm always surprised the different ways people figure out how to record bass covers.
yeah. I mean, the Roll and Go mixer that I've got, it was I think 90 to £100, but I mean the quality you get from it, and plus the time you save not having to add the audio to the video afterwards. The downside being is that you have to be able to record in one take. Which some of my videos have got a few errors in, but that's all the fun of it, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's tough. It's tough to go a whole take without making even the tiniest mistake, because you're picking yourself apart too, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's some. I'll do a take, and I'll think, yep, that's fine, and then like a week later, I'll just I'll be in the car and I'll just listen to stuff that I've put up on YouTube, and I think, oh, there's an error there. Yep, I messed that bit up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had any comments yet to say that, oh, you've made that error, but I know it's there.
Yeah. Well, and I find, I don't know, at least from my analytics, it seems like most people have tuned in for, 15, 30 seconds to a video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their attention span is minimal now. I mean, I'm lucky if I see someone who's actually watched the whole of my video. I mean, shorts maybe, because they're only up. I limit them to a minute just to save me getting a copyright claim more than anything. But yeah, long form stuff. It's there in the background, but I mean, the bulk of my views now tend to be on shorts rather than my long form videos. I mean, I'll be lucky now if there's a few videos that I get a few hundred views, but most of the time they're like, I'd be lucky if I get 100 on some of them. It depends how popular the song is. If I do a more unknown song, then that would generally get a lot less views than like a more popular song.
Yeah, I even find sometimes I'm surprised. I maybe cover something that's really obscure to me, maybe something from Russia or
Yeah,
Central America or something, and that gets all the views. And
yeah.
some big song, some hit, some Dua Lipa hit or something gets nothing.
I guess that's the flip side, because if it hasn't been done before, then I guess maybe the algorithm will promote it because you're the first person to have done it, and if there's an audience for it, you'll be top of the list, I guess.
And how much do you find the like the view count and stuff? Does that motivate you at all, or is it you really just
Um,
doing covers for the sake of it?
Much just for the sake of it more than anything. Um, yeah, I mean, if it does go anywhere, then great. But I mean, I think I've just under 300 300 subscribers at the moment, so it's fairly small at the moment. But I mean, yeah, I seem to go through waves. Like some months I'll get 20 subscribers, other months I might get only just a few. But yeah, it's just slowly but surely they're just slowly ramping up bit by bit. But it's definitely a long game, especially just when you're doing bass covers. I mean, I am branching out slightly into doing more product related stuff now. So there's a chickenbacker bass behind me, but it's a right-handed one. I decided to build it just to see how I like bass building, and I dabbled with a few bits in the past, and so I've just sort of made a video from start to finish, and that got quite a lot of views, and it's still going up now. Like a lot of my videos tend to flatline after a week and a half, and some will still continue to go up, but most of them just tend to tail off after maybe a week or so. But this one seems to still be on an upward trend. I mean, it's not going viral by any means, but it seems to be doing better. So my next video that I'll be doing, which I'm working on at the moment, I've recently swapped out the stock pickups on my Aerodyne, and I've put some quarter-pound Seymour Duncans in it. So I made like a start to finish video of how I took them out, replaced them, soldered the new ones in, and also like a before and after comparison, and I'll just see how that goes.
That's cool. I always enjoyed doing those. I've got a few videos like that, comparing pickups or necks or something. I can see those giant quarter pounder magnets from here.
Yeah, yeah. It was. I mean, I've got a quarter pound set in my Precision as well, but the new ones, I think they're even bigger again. At least they seem to be. I found when I installed them, I put a new set of strings on, and it all sounded fine. It tended to sound quite flat and almost like it was dead or being choked. And turns out that the pickup was too close, and it was literally choking all the sustain out of the string. So I had to wind it almost right the way down as far as I could away from the string, just so that it had some room to breathe. Because those magnets are pretty powerful on there.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. And so since you put them in your P bass, I assume, have you tried out other ones, or you like those quarter pounders, I guess?
Well, so the white P bass I've got. I mean, it's not a genuine Fender by any means. We'll get onto this in a minute, but it's basically a parts caster made from various bits. And the bulk of my gigging and studio work that I've done has been done using that. And in a live setting and a studio setting, it's always had that sort of sound I've always wanted or always sort of aimed for. And it's just been my go-to. So since getting the Aerodyne, I thought, well, I'll try a quarter pound set in it and see how I like it. And just on initial observation, I have found that they don't sound exactly the same. They are, even if I'm just using the P pickup alone on the Aerodyne, it is still slightly different tonally than what the P bass is. But yeah, I'm still trialing and erroring at the moment. So I might chuck in a little compare as well and just show the difference between the Aerodyne with the P pickup only and the Precision with the quarter pound in as well. Just show people what the difference can be between those two as well.
Well, and I think it's got to have a little bit of difference with the Aerodyne because it's, even if you don't have the jazz pickup on, I think the electronics are still kind of going through it, right? The signals
definitely.
still going through it.
What I was quite amazed to see is that there's no ground wire attached to the jack. It's just relying on that control plate as a common ground between the pots and the actual jack.
Yeah, it makes wiring up a little easier. I remember
Yeah.
the first time I took a jazz bass apart in the store I was working at, and yeah, I saw no ground wire and thought, what, did Fender forget? What's going on here? And Called them up actually to ask them what was going on, and they said, "Yeah, it's the jack plate."
Yeah, yeah. It just really shocked me when I took it off and had a look. Oh, that's strange. Yeah, but yeah, it seems to be working okay. I mean, one thing I didn't do is I didn't line the cavities all with shielding tape. I, the actual pickups have got some shielding on the bottom, so there doesn't seem to be a huge amount of noise from the pickups. So I'll try it for now, and then if need be later on, I'll just put some shielding tape in the cavity. I did it on my Precision when I was modifying that, but yeah.
Did you find it helped? Because I have it in a few bases. Oh, oh, you're using a 57 to record the audio?
I'm using a 57 to record the audio. Yeah, I don't have a vocal mic sadly, but
Oh yeah,
oh well.
no.
Yeah.
Can you can you point that mic a little more towards yourself? The
Is that
volume
better?
dropped. Yeah,
Tweak up. Is that better now?
yeah.
Okay.
No, I mean those 57s are great.
Yeah, I mean they're just like a jack of all trades sort of thing, really. Yeah, yeah. I've I found them great for just slightly off center of my cab. They just seem to cut through really well. And I've used it on guitar cabs as well. Whenever I've done live recordings out with the band, um, yeah, it seems to work quite well.
But you're never using that at home, I take it.
No, no, I'm just using the DI more than anything. I don't think the family would appreciate me up at all hours recording through the cab as well.
Oh, I had something to ask and I forgot. I should be writing all this stuff down as it comes to me. I mean, we can, I guess, if you want to, like, we can go right to the top of those questions that had sent you, and
Cool.
just to when did you start playing bass and why?
So I started, yeah, playing well over 20 years ago. Um, I was, must have been 13 at the time, and my older sister, she was starting to play guitar because she was very much into her grunge, her emo, and one of her favorite bands at the time was Nirvana. And so she had this Fender Squier Stratocaster, and so and she was right-handed, and she sort of taught me "Come as You Are" on there, and I thought, oh, okay, that I sort of get used to it. But I tried it both ways. I tried it right-handed, and then it sort of it felt a bit awkward, so I did try it the other way, played it upside down, and I guess it felt a bit better. But that's about as far as I went with that for the time being. Um, and then I was just sort of following almost in her footsteps with like the music she was into. And then I sort of took quite a liking to Green Day at the time. And prior to that, I'd never really paid much attention music-wise um, to anything really. And then it transpired that she was having lessons with our neighbour, who was a brilliant guitarist, um, and he was up regularly with a band. And the drummer, he was left-handed, and he had a left-handed bass. And he just said, "Well, look, if Tom wants to play bass, then he can borrow mine for a while just to see how he likes it and get started." And it basically went from there. So I borrowed this bass. He gave me lessons, and that must have been for a good 18 months or more. I had weekly lessons with him, um, and it was around that time I was listening to Green Day quite regularly, and I hadn't paid massive attention to what was going on musically, and then all of a sudden, it obviously the bass in the earlier Green Day stuff was all quite bright and busy, and yeah, I just got hooked on it, and that was yeah one of my earlier influences really, um, and my tone that I often go for is sort of loosely modelled on, I guess, my don't, but also sort of anything from Blink 182. Um, who else? Yeah. Um, yeah, Fall Out Boy. There's a lot of punk rock bands that have that same sort of generic kind of P bass growly tone. That yeah, anything like that.
Yeah. Well, it's so good. I'm a big fan of not scooped bass. Like lots of mids.
Yeah, yeah, it's something that I've just always gravitated towards that sort of tone. And as time went on, um, yeah, that has just been my go-to sound. Whenever I've been um, out with bands, I'll always use it where I can. I mean, it doesn't suit all styles of music. There are times where I've got to sort of rein it in a bit and whack the tone off a bit. Um, or if I'm using my fingers, yeah, if I use that same sort of tone playing fingerstyle, it tends to be quite clunky and messy. And yeah, I just generally tend to boost cut the mids and bring the lows up a bit just to try and balance it out for doing like 12 bar stuff or any of like any pop songs that yeah you just can't get away with playing that kind of style of tone and aggressive like that. Um, but yeah, I mean from that point on when I was having lessons, uh, it got to the point then when um, I was getting quite confident with it, and he had to stop doing lessons for one reason or another, and I was sort of left on my own for a bit, and I was just going uh, downloading guitar tabs and playing all sorts like Foo Fighters, yeah, like Nirvana, any what basically anything on Kerrang that was being played, I was learning and just jamming to basically. Um, or any MTV, Scuzz, all those channels that the music channels. I was just watching them religiously, and anything I took fancy to, I was just downloading the tab, and yeah, yeah, and then it sort of got to the stage where I still wanted lessons, but I managed to find a local tutor who, sorry, cut off then. Yeah, I found a local tutor um, who, as it transpired, happened to be the bass player for, I don't know if you know Mungo Jerry.
I don't think so.
Yeah, one of their famous songs was "In the Summertime."
Oh,
It's
right.
quite,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, and he was very much into um, funk, soul, um, reggae, and he didn't play the pick at all, which was good for me because it kind of I was taught both finger and pick, but whenever I had lessons with him, I had to just exclusively do fingerstyle only. And he did teach me a bit of slap, but I never really got into it that much. Um, it just didn't. That sort of style never really appealed to me that much. I know it seems to be like the top level of bass playing, but it's just never really appealed to me to make that sort of jump to it. I mean, I'm not particularly great at it anyway, but I guess if I spent a bit more time practicing at it, I might be able to. But um, whenever I've been in bands, there's never. I mean, I've not been in a funk band or any type of bands that sort of required even the pop covers bands I've been in. There's been no real call for me to do any significant slapping of any kind. So I've just never had the need to really learn it. Um, so yeah, I've just stuck to either fingers or pick mostly.
Yeah, I can tell you, I'm not a fan of slap. I've never been
Yeah,
asked to slap. I think maybe out of all the covers I have, maybe there's a bit of slapping or popping on two or three of them, out of thousands. So,
yeah. But I could do bits here and there. I think I did a cover of Rio by Duran Duran, and there's a little bit of slapping in there, but it's just the odd bit here and there, which I think's fine. I mean, I like little bits of slap here and there, but start to finish, I find it just a bit too much, really.
yeah, it
Um,
can be very, it can be just what the song needs. I got nothing against a good slap song,
yeah,
but it's nothing I've ever cared to practice.
no. No, I think we're on the same page for that then.
Yeah, and I mean the cover band I was in would play "Hungry Like the Wolf,"
Yep,
and I would just kind of aggressively pick it with a pick,
yep,
and it's close enough for a cover band in a bar.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
And so, when you're taking these lessons, like, did you learn more about theory and
I
scales
did
and
from, I mean, my first teacher. I mean, I learned a lot from him, and it was a shame like the lessons had to stop because we were just getting into like the more advanced side, um, and we were getting more into the theory side of things at that point because he had a very good way of explaining theory, whereas my second teacher that I had is very good, exceptionally knowledgeable, especially because he had solely played bass and he hadn't played any other instrument. So that was his bread and butter. But his way of explaining theory to me was he just didn't seem to have that knack of getting it across. It's like if I'm not interested in something, it just doesn't sink in. And yeah, he just didn't really explain it in a way that was interesting to me. And a lot of the theory that he was teaching just it ended up going over the top of my head, sadly. But I wish I had paid more attention at the time. But at the age of 16, you know, my my attention span was not great at that point.
right? And you just want to play songs more or less, right?
Definitely, definitely. And even now, my theory is still not great. Even now, I mean, I know most of the basic scales and everything. But a lot of what I play now, I'll do it through ear. Like if I'm coming up with a bass fill for something, I'll just listen to like a backing harmony, and I think, oh, that sounds quite nice. I'd like to play that same harmony on bass. So I'll just fiddle around the neck until I find those notes, and then incorporate that into the fill. And whether it's using a major, minor, mixolydian, or aeolian, or whatever. I'm not entirely 100% sure, but I just know that if it sounds right, it is right. For using that basic analogy anyway.
Yeah, I mean that's the scale is only a name you put after something
Yeah,
sounds good, right?
yeah. So I mean, most of what I sort of compose now is I'll just listen to the song and just sort of think in my head what could I put in, or where is the space for me to do something, and I'll just take it from there really. If there's at the end of a bar, if it feels like the drummer's doing a fill that I could join in on, I'll just accompany him on that fill, either running down or running up a scale. Um, or if there's something happening on guitar where I could accompany them rather than being too out there, being my own feel in its own right. I'll try and find something else to accompany or harmonize with.
So that's something you're pretty cognizant of, like not stepping on the toes of the drummer
Find,
or guitar.
I mean, one of the things that my second teacher in particular um, sort of taught me was to, yeah, remember that you're a bass player, and remember that you have to be there to lock in that groove, and try not to step on too many people's toes, because the minute you make a mistake, people are going to be all looking at you. They're not going to be looking at the guitarist, not going to be looking at the singer. They will be looking at you, because when you make a mistake, it will be highlighted tenfold.
Yeah, oh for sure. Yeah, it's crazy how it's bass is just so unnoticed until you uh, make a huge mistake.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And the, like some of the early recordings I did in the studio of my old originals band, uh, I was doing way too much. I was just flying up and down scales like I didn't care, and I'm overplaying on 90% of the songs that we recorded, and I cringe at a lot of it. But then it was, it was early on. I mean, that was I'd only been playing about four and a half, yeah, 4.5, 5 years at that point. and yeah, I guess I was still learning or finding my feet with it all. But yeah, it was yeah, definitely overplaying, overstepping the mark a bit. I mean, it was just myself, a guitarist, a drummer, and a singer. So, and the guitar was fairly basic, so there was room for me to do more. But even so, I was just doing way too much at that point.
Still a great experience, though.
Oh, definitely. It's all a learning curve, and yeah, I think after that, I definitely took on board what he said. I mean, when he was playing at college, he himself was guilty of overplaying, and whenever he was playing in front of his tutor, he would have a stick and he just whack the board and say, "No, stop it! You're doing too much." So that's one thing I've taken from what he taught me. Yeah, just not to overplay, not overstep the mark. Listen to what's going on with the rest of the band and try and fit in around it without being too forward in the mix.
Yeah, there's
That's
definitely been more than a few situations where I thought, oh, I'll throw a little fill in here, and then I can hear the guitar or drummer already
yeah,
starting a fill. So I just,
yeah,
okay. I mean, that's what they're there for anyways. Let the guitarist do something cool.
yeah. And I think also with like the sound that I primarily go for, it's quite fun just to hang now on root notes, just chugging away, and the sound you get out of just doing 16th notes on on a P bass with a pick. I mean, it just sounds brilliant, and I don't. I, at certain times, I feel, you know what, I'm just going to stick on the root, and yeah, it just sounds great, and I don't feel to have the need to fly up and down scales or do a feel at the end of every bar. Um, I have done in the past, but as time goes on, I think no, I'm just going to hang back and chill on the route for a bit.
Yeah, that's sort of my approach, even in like the original band I'm in. I mean, there's a lot of players in it anyway, so there's not much room for me to do much else than play roots. But just, yeah, playing eighth notes sounds so
Yeah,
great.
yeah, definitely. There's a lot to be said for it. I mean, I think if you've got a great tone to begin with, just use that to your advantage. You don't need to, fly up and down the scales to show off what you can do. I mean, if you have a great sound, then just it just sounds great just doing loops half the time. Um, yeah, so that's basically sort of my way of thinking and my way of playing now. If it was to be analysed that way.
Yeah, I really do. I enjoy like the AC/DC approach for bass, and just I'll play more if someone in the band wants me to play more, but I'll
Yeah,
always err towards as simple as possible. Let everyone else. Uh, the way my bass teacher told me, like bassists hold up the ring of fire for everyone to jump through.
definitely.
It's an important job, but no one's clapping for the guy.
No, no, and it's funny. Like whenever I'm at a gig, I mean, most of the time you go to a gig and you go home and you'll have other members of the band say, "Oh yeah, great night," sort of thing, and then you might have the odd night where you'll play and then someone will come up to you and say, "Oh, that bass sounded really good," or "That was great night." You think, "Oh," and chances are they're a bass player as well.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, sometimes you just get random compliments, and because they don't happen very often, it's like, oh, okay, that's nice. And it's time my family are non-musicians, so I don't really get any kind of real praise from them because even when they've come to see me, they've not really known what I'm doing because they don't know what the bass is meant to sound like or can't really distinguish it from the band when I'm playing. But yeah, it's nice when you have a gig and someone comes up to you at the end of the night and says, "Oh, that sounded good." But it doesn't happen often because most of the time you're there in the background and you're there to be felt, not to be heard.
Yeah, and then half of that time, the person telling you you did a good job is maybe so drunk that you
Yeah.
can't take them too seriously.
No, definitely, no, definitely.
And so, do you gig a lot?
I I used to, which is again why I've done more YouTube stuff recently. So around 2020 or 2019, my job changed. So I went to become a train driver or engineer, as you call it, and that involved doing a lot of shift work. Um, and so basically 60% of my weekends I work now. So that's kind of limited significantly what time I have to gig. And on top of that, 2020, 2021, I had two kids. So that's again limited my time for gigging. So the covers band that I was in more or less folded around COVID because there was no gigs, there was nowhere to go, nothing to do. So we kind of amicably all agreed to sort of split up. Um, and the singer in that band, he reformed another covers band, and he called it Meringue, which is basically a mashup of Kerrang. Um, uh, their set list was any song that was played on Kerrang, basically. And so they had a bass player, but they asked me if I could dep for them for one gig. That was sort of 2022, and I played on that one night, and yeah, it was great. It was a steep learning curve because I did know some of the songs that we used to play from before, but a lot of them they'd all been shifted down, either a semitone or a whole tone. So I had to learn them in different or relearn them in different keys. A few songs that I already knew that were quite intricate, I would just tune down a whole tone rather than transpose it down because I guess I was being lazy. But because I knew that song in the original key so well, I didn't want to play it half a tone or whole tone down and then suddenly start playing it how you would originally. So I thought if I just down tune, then I'm not going to run the risk of playing it or slipping up and playing how I did originally. So
No, that I mean that makes way more sense and probably even fits better under the hands, even just in terms of open strings or things
yeah,
like that. Yeah.
so yeah, so that was just a one-off, and since then it's almost gone full circle really because my um, old guitar teacher, um, his the bass player that they have, he's a police officer, so he does shift work and he's limited on what weekends he's available. So they turned around to me and said, "Would I be interested in sort of covering where he can't make it?" And I was like, "Yeah, definitely." It's been a while since I gigged, so that's what I'm doing now. Is whenever he can't make a gig, I'll step in, and I've done about 3 gigs with him so far, and yeah, hopefully I'll be doing a few more this year. So it's just the right sort of amount because at the moment, with the shifts that I'm doing and the kids being young, I can't really commit to being out, once or twice a month. But every now and then, yeah, I can get away with. Um, it's just time wise, which is why I've now started to do more YouTube stuff just to keep my hand in really and keep myself on top of the game sort of thing. Because I know if I don't, then it'll just be left on the side and I won't touch it.
Yeah, oh, I mean, I find YouTube a great way to not only stay on top of it, but record all the songs that I'm learning for gigs and have them as references. And
Yeah, and which is why I'm not really overly fussed if my channel doesn't grow significantly or whether I get loads of views. I'm just more to the point of just keeping my hand in by playing and plus once I hit record, I know I've actually got to commit to getting it right or nearly right first time round, and not actually stop playing until I've actually recorded one take where it's 99% right.
and I know it changes a lot song to song, but are there moments where you just go, okay, I can't play this song. I'll have to come back to it.
Yeah. So there's two songs where I've recorded. I've put them up on YouTube, and they're not 100% right now. And Rancid, Maxwell Werder,
Right.
the solo. I was like nearly there with it, but there's a bit of a gap between, I think, the first part and the second part of the solo. Um, I was I got a bit too far ahead of myself, so there's a bit of a gap between me going, I think, onto the G, and that pause is quite noticeable. I think it wasn't initially when I recorded it because I'd had that many goes at takes. It was just, it must have been like 10, 20 takes, and I couldn't do it all in one day. I'd do like 5 takes a day, and I'd be like, no, that's enough now. My forearm's killing me. I need to stop. And I'd have another go, and and then after a couple of days, I got to this take, and I thought, that sounds okay. I'll put it up, and I did. And then it was only a few weeks after I was listening back to it. It was like, nah, there's a bit of a bum note there. You've paused a bit between going to the G on the second part of the solo, and it's funny. The more you listen to something and you know the error's there, it just becomes more and more apparent, and then that's all you can hear now. And part of me wants to do it again, but I know I'll be wasting so much time just trying to get it 100% perfect because it's such a hard song to get right. Um, Another one is Get the Funk Out by Extreme. I started again. That's like a 4.5, 5 minute song, and it's busy from start to finish. And yeah, I think after the last sort of minute, um, in the last minute, just on hitting those roots, or I say on the main riff of the chorus, I think my arm was just starting to just stop doing what I wanted it to do, and my timing was going a little bit off towards the end of the song, and yeah, it was the best I could do really. So I just uploaded it. But now again, looking back on it now, I think maybe I should redo it again or have another go at it. But
There's
yeah, do
yeah, there's definitely been a few. Oh, what's that? Sorry.
you get out of any covers you do? You sort of do it and then you come back to it and think, yeah, maybe I should do that again, or
I mean, there's
you're
been
not.
times where I thought I just nailed it and then listen back and go, what am I even playing the same song?
Yeah,
So I have no idea what's going on sometimes.
yeah. It's yeah. You just sort of do a take, you listen back to it, you think, yeah, that's okay. I'm ready to upload that, and then yeah, you come back to it and think, actually, there's a few mistakes there, but yeah. But again, with the attention span of people on here, people don't. I don't think anyone analyzes whatever I upload to the extent that I analyze it, and I'm sure you feel the same.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There have been some times though where people have pointed out mistakes that I'd say half the time the mistakes don't exist or that person is wrong because they were working off tabs in the first place. But
yeah,
there's been a few times where people have given me really good constructive feedback of like, you did this section wrong or it's supposed to be like this, and I'll go and re-record it.
yeah. Oh, another. I think you pointed this out to me. So when I did the AC/DC, shook me all night long. It was at the second verse.
Yeah, the
Um,
third time through, sort of.
yeah, so I was playing it and I was thinking something, and I couldn't actually pinpoint what it was, but it just sounded just ever so slightly off. And it was, yeah, it was that. It was just that semitone. Yeah,
Yeah,
semitone off.
playing because it's technically on a D chord, and then Cliff plays an F sharp.
Yeah,
So just that, and going from the G to the F sharp back to the G instead of G, D, G. Such a
yeah,
tiny change, but man, it's something every time we played that song live, it's so stupid, but I always look forward to just doing that one little back and forth.
yeah, definitely. It's just little things like that. I mean, even in not so much now, but some of the earlier pop music, like some of the recordings when they had to do it more or less in one take. There's multiple errors in songs there. Like one there's one song that's always stood out to me. I think it's Steve Harley and the Cockney Rebel Come Up and See Me. There's a part on the breakdown on that where the bass plays a bum note, and it sticks out like a sore thumb. But I guess you could almost call it dissonance, really, because it doesn't sound really wrong, but it yeah, it's definitely noticeably wrong.
Yeah, it's just jazz now.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, and I really enjoy spotting those mistakes in the old recordings. And even if I cover the song, I'll lift the mistake and play the mistake as well, because it's kind of a legendary mistake at that point.
definitely, definitely. Yeah.
So, I mean, you're able to like you seem you know the notes on your fretboard. Do you tend to think in notes as well too, or are you
Yeah.
ever thinking like 3, 5, 7, or are you thinking G, C, E, or whatever?
Well, I'm thinking more of the root more than anything, and then whenever I'm learning a song, I'll just keep it nice and easy to begin with, and then as I get a more of a feel of the song over time, I'll then start to get a bit more experimental and see where I can chop and change things a bit. But if I'm learning a song that's got a particular bass line, I'll learn that. And if the song's busy enough, or quite, or just one of those songs where you think, you know what, I'm not going to change anything. I'm just going to play it as it is, because if I do start messing around with it, I'm going to ruin it or just spoil it a little bit. But yeah, I guess, yeah, I think in note form, in just, yeah, C, G, D, or whatever. But not so much number wise. Um, if I'm thinking more in the term of scale, but yeah, that's basically my way of thinking when I'm playing.
Yeah, because I mean, I find I tend to think in notes, but I will also kind of in the back of my head be going, okay, this is one going to 205, going to five, going to three, just in case I want to move it around to another key, or sometimes it just helps me internalize it a little better if I am thinking in terms of what the chords are as a like a scale degree, regardless of the key, a
Yeah,
specific key. I'll just be thinking kind of, yeah, Nashville numbers or Roman numerals sort of thing. Like, is it
yeah,
something you say for that AC/DC where he's going from the G to the F sharp?
yeah.
Like, is it stuff you're aware of that that's like a D chord in first inversion? Do you hear that stuff or?
No,
Okay.
no. I mean, yeah, things like first inversions, and this is where, I mean, I've dabbled on the guitar, and I think if I was to learn more on guitar, then stuff like that would become a lot more apparent.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, no, that I would just I would hear it, but and maybe if I was messing around, if say for example, I was Cliff and I was writing that song, then it wouldn't occur to me to do that. But if I was messing around and or by mistake I just found it, I thought, oh, that sounds nice. I might have used it then, but yeah, I wouldn't have thought to create it in in that respect.
Right. Just because there are so many bass lines, say they go C, B, A, maybe then down to G and then F. And that when it's playing, it's a C chord, but then when you're playing a B, maybe it's still a G chord on the guitar and it's G over B or something like that. And you're not
Yeah,
playing the root anymore. Like I
yeah.
assume you've run into that more than a few times.
Oh, definitely. And a lot of the time I've done it without realizing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
how long have you?
I mean, at this point, over 30 years.
Yeah.
But at least, I mean, at least the first 10 was just dicking around. I
Yeah.
had no idea what I was doing.
And so when you first started, uh, did you decide that you were going to learn left-handed, or did the opportunity come up to have a left-handed guitar or bass?
Yeah, it was really like a friend of my parents. Well,
Yeah.
everyone knew I was left-handed. So a friend of my parents who played in a band just said, "Well, I'll get you a left-handed guitar if you're left-handed." So he went out, found some old Squire, picked it up, and I went from left-handed right from the beginning. There was never even a discussion about should you learn right-handed or not. I mean, I do kind of wish I had just for the instrument availability, but
definitely. I mean, part of me feels the same. I mean, but then I question myself. I mean, because from a right-handed person's perspective, they would never have to even question, or even why would they ever consider playing left-handed, unless they had an accident with their hand, which meant they could no longer fret, or vice versa. Um, but for me, I mean, with my left hand, that I use everything. I do everything with it. And my right hand sort of almost feels more of a spare part, despite the fact that fretting at face value seems much more complex, and theoretically that would be your dominant hand doing all the work. But then when you look at it and you think, well, actually picking and strumming and the effort involved in it is much more intense than simply fretting a fretboard. Um, because otherwise, why would why would a right-handed person fret with their left hand?
Yeah, exactly.
So, um, so yeah, I mean, I thought about, should I have learned right-handed? But then when I think about, yeah, I could have probably got away with it and slowly learned. But then at this stage, would I have come across limitations in what I could do with my picking hand? Not so much fretting, because I'd be using my dominant hand, but certainly picking. Would I come up against a stumbling block and not being able to shred, or um, use free fingers for picking, or anything like that, really? Because it just doesn't feel right even attempting to strum with my right hand or finger pick with it. It just doesn't, yeah, it just doesn't feel right at all to me. So,
Yeah.
um,
And there's even photos of me as like a little kid, like under 4, 2 years old or something, and I'm holding a toy guitar left-handed.
yeah,
So I was sort of doomed from the start.
yeah, I can remember even holding a tennis racket doing air guitar in like my early days of school, and I'm pretty sure I was holding it that way. Yeah. So even then, it just felt more right to hold it that way. Um,
There
so
is a,
yeah,
do you know the bass player Mono Neon?
yeah,
He's right-handed
yeah.
and just plays bass left-handed because he said that's what felt comfortable.
Yeah, see that's what makes me theorize that, being left or right-handed isn't like a certainty you're either one or the other. I mean, I think somewhere ambidextrous sits there in the middle, and then you're somewhere on the scale between one or the other. So, and yeah, I mean, if it felt right for him, then yeah,
Yeah, and I
great.
mean Edgar Meyer. I don't know if you know him. He's an upright bass player,
Yeah,
but he's like the greatest ever. He's left-handed and he plays right-handed. It didn't seem to slow him down like a bit, but yeah, like you say, it could be that whole spectrum that
yeah.
he's more on the ambidextrous side, closer to right-handed than someone who's extreme left-wired.
Mark King from Level 42, he's left-handed and plays right-handed. Um, yeah, I mean, he slaps the hell out of that bass and
Yeah,
away with it. So, again, I think he must be just somewhere on that scale more towards the middle. Um, but yeah, it's funny when a lot of people have challenged me to say, "Oh, you can always learn right-handed. It will feel weird at first, but or why didn't you learn right-handed in the beginning?" It's like, well, it just doesn't feel right. It's like asking them the same question: Why didn't you learn left-handed if there was a left-handed guitar available? I mean, yes, choice is significantly limited. At least, I mean, things have got better. Don't get me wrong. I mean, 10, 15 years ago, the only things that Fender were ever selling was just standard models in black or sunburst, and that was your color choices. That was it. Um, and then over time, like the range has got better, and I think Fender are slowly realizing that they've hit a bit of a stumbling block with the amount of guitars that are out there on the second-hand market. People are just, especially right-handed ones. I mean, they've got every color and choice, model choice of the rainbow out there at the moment. Why would they buy a new model when older guitars hold their value, and some of the older ones do go up in value, if anything? So I think they're, to be honest, they're probably struggling just regurgitating older models and coming up with like a player plus plus whatever, or like the American Vintage 2 series. It's just, to me, it's just the same model with a different name on it.
Yeah, I mean,
And
they haven't innovated in
no,
60 years.
but I mean, it works. It works. I mean, the models they have are great, but I feel like they could do more for us in particular. Um, like the mod shop. I don't know if you've had a look at that. That is that's good in the fact that you've got pretty much exactly the same choices for left hand as you have right hand, um, but you've still got to pay, over the odds. But it's like that little gap between an American series and custom shop. It's like that sort of market gap in the middle. But um, I mean, there's been a lot of bases in the artist series that I would have loved to have had a left-handed model of, but I've got virtually no hope of Fender ever making one unless I've got like £10,000 or dollars to go full custom or master build to have it. Um,
And then you got to wait like 7, 10 years or something like that.
yeah. And I think in the next few months I'm gonna certainly do what you do and go down the Warmouth route and get a body made up and probably a neck as well, and really customize what I want. That Chickenbacker or Rickenbacker copy that I made last month was like a test because it was like £160 to buy, and the wife's going to use it. So I was going to sell it, but she was like, no, 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 I want to keep it. So yeah, she can have that one. And I'm going to go down a Warmouth route and order something up. Um,
Yeah, I
and
mean, there's really nothing to it.
uh,
Warmouth does the heavy lifting.
yeah, yeah, the quality of it looks brilliant, to be honest. So um, in fact, it's probably better than what's coming out of California at the minute.
Yeah, I do like the Warmouth necks. I think I have three. I think three.
Yeah,
And yeah, I got no complaints. The first one I ordered was quarter sawn maple, and
yeah,
it's just so rock solid. Like the frets have never sprouted because the neck shrinks kind of the
yeah.
opposite way with the quarter sawn, right? So uh, I've maybe adjusted the truss rod like 2 or 3 times, and I think I got that neck in 2003.
Yeah. Wow, that's good. Yeah. So that's definitely something I'm going to look at in the future. But I mean, for now, I've got my parts caster P bass. I've still got the bass. That hold on, I'll grab it. Yeah, this was the first bass that I ever played, which is again it's like a Honor um, precision copy, and yeah, PJ pickups. It was to this day. Yeah, it's what it is. It's got a nice cutout for the tummy tuck on the body, and yeah, I don't really use it so much now because I've got the other two. But yeah, it's the sentimental value more than anything. I'm going to keep it. It's yeah, it was the first bass I ever played. So
How long did you play that bass for?
probably a few months, and then after that time, um, I felt bad keeping it off the drummer at the time, and I gave that back to him. And Mum bought me it was Ernie Ball Stingray copy. It was vintage make, yeah, in Sunburst, and I played that for a few years. But the for me, that Ernie Ball tone was just that little bit too bright, poppy, and a bit too harsh. I mean, yeah, you could cut the tone back and you'd have a warmer sound, but um, it's certainly when you're using a pick, it just got that little bit too aggressive for me, and I really favoured the precision sound, and that's basically what I went for. And I had a jazz bass after that, and that was again a Stag copy. So I used that for a while. I swapped the pickups on it for Fender pickups, um, and And then over time, because again, I could have got a Fender Standard precision bass, but it would have been in either black or sunburst. And I didn't really, I sort of went off sunburst on almost as a protest vote because sunburst was the only color choice we had. So I ended up hating sunburst and taking a general dislike to black. And so I just didn't go for either of those colors, and I wanted a white precision. And the only way I was going to get white precision without going down the custom shop route was to get another copy and just modify it. So that was when I got this, which was just an antiquity, another copy of a Fender. Had this, took the neck off, I swapped it for a Squire neck, and ended up being a bit naughty and sticking a logo on it. So ignore that. And then just put a tortoiseshell pickguard on it, put the Seymour Duncans in there, completely change the electronics, and then put a badass bridge on it. So and then I used this for a good sort of 10, 15 years, really, out with bands, and really love the sound even now that this one gives, because it's just got so many high mids that it just really cuts through on the mix. A lot of the time I still play this one now for a few covers, and then get to the one of my favorites is
You definitely don't see too many left-handed Aerodynes.
Oh, so this was an absolute steal on eBay. So I knew that Fender Japan had made a few Aerodynes or a limited run in left-handed, and I saw one for sale, must have been about 3 years ago, and I missed out on it. I was kicking myself after that point. And then I saw one come up again, I went for it. And I was a bit skeptical because buying something from Japan or China, especially when it's a lot of money, you sort of think, am I buying it from the right person? Am I going to be protected if it all falls through? But the guy was brilliant. He accepted the offer, and he sent it via FedEx, and it was with me within 3 days, air shipping. And it's been great, really. I mean, it was in really good condition. There's hardly any marks or scratches anywhere on it. The only thing is the metalwork's tarnished a bit. There's some light pitting around the tuner keys, but that should polish out eventually. I just really love it. Like the binding around the body as well. It's just, The only thing I did find with this, and it took a while to get used to, is like on a precision, on the body contour, you've got more of a contour on the edge. So your forearm on this initially dug in, and it would sort of leave a mark on your forearm after you were playing it for a while. But over time, you get used to it, and you just sort of adjust your playing style to accommodate it. Because I know people in the past have criticised the Aerodynes of not being the right contour for your forearm, but over time I've just got used to it, and it doesn't really bother me at all now.
Right, and there's no need to put all your weight into your forearm.
No, definitely not. It's just, in fact, it feels better when I'm playing with a strap more than anything, as opposed to being sat down. And the only mod that I've made is swapping the pickups up, but I think the difference it's made has been not as much as I thought. There is a difference, but it is fairly subtle. I think the pickups or stock pickups that were in there had quite a relatively high output anyway. So the Seymour Duncans have made a difference, but I don't think it's massive. I think there's there's definitely more high mids that have cut through, but yeah, I think generally it's much more subtle than when I took the stock pickups out of that and put Seymour Duncans in. The difference was huge because they were just cheap, nasty copies of precision pickups that were in there before. But yeah, this was an absolute steal to get, and it's unique, it's different, and to have something unique and different, as you know, in left-handed is something of a blessing, really.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a huge buying feature for me anyways, is sort of the uniqueness of some bass. You know, I don't want a
Yeah.
bunch of one color or I mean, I already got enough jazz basses. So that's about as but at least they're all different colors.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, and they're not like the usual colours that you get on standard Fender models, are they? They're a bit different.
Yeah, one of my first jazz bass was a like a reissue of a 62 in Sunburst, but that's such a legendary. Yeah, it's like the John Paul Jones jazz bass in my mind anyways.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So, are you happy with the bases you've got? Is there anything on the horizon that you think you might get at a later date, or any kind of ones on your wish list that you fancy?
Well, yeah, I'll send you a link. I don't know. There's a guy in Turkey. The company is Autobase,
Oh, okay.
and I'm having a bass made from him or by
Yeah.
him. It'll be ready in May.
Oh, nice.
But like a five-string headless, super light, chambered.
Is it based on anything, or is it very much a unique, your own custom design?
It's his. He only makes one design of bass.
Yeah.
But I mean, I picked the woods and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But that's about it. I mean, nothing else. Uh, I would like another P bass.
Yeah.
'Cause the one I have now has flats on it, and then the Sire, the red one that you've seen, it
Yes.
has
Yeah.
rounds, but it's a five string, and I'd like a four string P bass with rounds on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. And do you know what? Would you go down the Fender route, or would you go down maybe the warmer route again?
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever buy an actual Fender again. I just
Okay.
think the prices are too high for that I could
They
go
have.
almost anywhere else and get twice the bass for the price.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, I do keep an eye out on the second-hand market on eBay, Reverb, just to see what comes up. And there's a lot of Chinese builders now that have started making um, very suspiciously similar knockoffs that are pretty much identical to some artist models, and but they don't come up very often. They're here 1 minute and gone the next. Maybe because they've only made a limited run of one, but um, yeah, I've been sort of semi tempted by the price. I mean, for like 180, £200 or dollars, you can get like their copy of like an artist series. So I missed out on one, but yeah, I think I might just rather than go down that route of getting like a cheap knockoff, which might be disappointing long term if frets start to peel off and the quality is just generally not there. If I just go down the warmer route, pay a bit more, and you know what you got. You're going to have something of higher end standard.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest concern with the sort of counterfeits, is just that
Yeah,
they're using probably like the greenest wood ever,
yeah,
and that it's something's going to warp or something's going to shrink too much, and because it even happens with certainly Mexican fenders. I've seen it even on American fenders that the wood is just too fresh and it just
yeah,
adjusts so much. You know, and pick guards are rising up like
yeah,
crazy because the wood is shrunk. That it's just kind of unacceptable.
yeah. Even that Rickenbacker copy. I mean, the wood on the body, every layer of paint we put on there, it would just suck it in. It would just absorb it. And even now, after like multiple coats that we put on there, you can still see the wood grain in it now. So it's just, yeah, it just goes. Yeah. Maybe I should have done a bit more prep work on the primers, but yeah, the wood was definitely not a high standard. I mean, when I first picked up out the box, it was so light, there was no weight to it whatsoever. Um,
Do you know what
so,
kind of wood it is?
and no, um, it's definitely not a hardwood, that's for sure. The fretboard is probably not rosewood, but it's it could be even one of the cheaper versions, like what Fender are using, is that Porphyro?
Yeah. Sometimes it's even just dyed maple.
Yeah, it could well be.
But I had a Typhoon guitar, a Strat copy that was Paulownia wood, which maybe
Yeah,
is what that Rickenbacker is because it's so cheap and it's crazy light. Like the Strat was like 6 pounds,
yeah,
but you just give it a little tap and you dent it. Even through the thick polyurethane finish, you could really dent it. Even my Warmouth, the my P bass and my Pink Strat are basswood, and just the say the brass part of my guitar strap, if that hits the body, it'll take a chunk out of it. Like the basswood is, if you want a guitar that's going to kind of look relic pretty soon, basswood will kind of fall apart on you. It's very soft.
yeah, yeah. And do you notice much of a tonal difference between them? Like, because they say that when you're looking at tonal differences between guitars of the same size and body and everything, that the actual tonal differences are generally, like even with the fretboard between maple and rosewood, there is a difference, but it is really negligible at best. And in a mix, you won't hear the difference. It's only if you isolate it where you might hear slight differences between them.
Yeah, it's nothing that I've noticed. I really do think pickups make up 99% of the sound.
Like,
I've certainly never listened to an album and thought, "Oh, that sounds like a maple fretboard," or like,
definitely not. No.
and then especially if you're running a Sans amp or something, like that's between the Sans amp and your pickups, that's got to be like 100% of your tone.
Oh, definitely. Um, so I'm running. Yeah. So both my basses, I've got the quarter pound pickups, and then I'll run into. So I've got the power driver pedal, which I'll run straight into that. Um, so I've got the quite high mids on there. Trebles sort of around about 12 o'clock. Bass is sort of 1 o'clock. Overdrives sort of 10 o'clock ish. Um, and then you've got the mid shift on there, which is that's around about 2 o'clock as well. Um, and that's sort of by looking through the list of sort of default effects on there. This is like the Ampeg VST sort of sound, or allegedly, and I wouldn't have said it's far off because the like the Ampeg VST, there's got quite a lot of low mids tend to cut through on them. I used one in the studio once and had a great sound to it. And then from there, um, I've got this is a Boss ME50 B pedal, which I use pretty much. It's got a compressor limiter, which I use, and then like with the master settings, most of the EQ is around 12 o'clock. I don't really mess around with that because it's already been played around with both in the power driver and on the amp as well. So I don't mess around. The overdrive I will use. It almost acts like a second compressor more than anything. The overdrive on here. So depending on whether I'm recording here or out on a gig, I'll sort of trial the pedal. And if I don't quite like how it sounds, if it's really compressing it too much, I just won't use this one at all. And then the end one, um, I'll use this for chorus. Like when I've done Guns N' Roses, I'll definitely use the chorus effect on here. Um, and then with the filter tone, if I want to cut the tone back, I can just hit the pedal here and it will just cut the highs and mids off completely. So if I want to start doing like a 12 bar or some real bluesy stuff, I can just hit that and then off I go, rather than mess around with the tone on the bass.
Yeah, those are cool. I kept looking at an ME90
Yeah,
just the updated version of that. I ended up going with an HX Stomp, but I still like when I see one of those go on sale, I feel like I'm going to pick one up.
it is good. I feel like there's probably a lot more because that's quite an old model now when you think about it. I've had that for well over 10 years now. Um, so there's definitely newer and better equivalents that have surpassed that. But for sort of stick to what I know kind of thing for now, like it works.
Yeah.
Um, the latest thing I've done is added a Sans amp to my signal chain, and I quite like it. The only thing I did find is the 9-volt battery, as great as it sounds, does not last very long at all. So I wouldn't trust it for a full length gig. So I will use the 9-volt supply. But there is definitely a difference between using the 9-volt power supply and just using a 9-volt battery. Because I think a couple of covers I did. I did a cover of The Darkness, and I did a Foo Fighters song, and the tone I was really pleased with. I haven't really been able to match it since, but I was pretty sure at the time I was just using a 9-volt battery, and whether that was in that kind of state where it was almost drained, but just enough to keep the power going, and that just significantly altered the tone to the point that it sounded really good. But anything less or anything more in the voltage wise it wouldn't have sounded the same. I was just in that little sweet spot area. But then that's just the unpredictability of using a battery, I guess. So yeah, if I was out live, I'd definitely use a power supply rather than the battery.
I think there are power supplies or something you can use to limit voltage. That you could be sending that 8.3 volts or something like that if you wanted.
Yeah,
I know I've seen something like that before.
yeah, maybe that's something I should experiment with. And yeah, because it sounded really good, and I've just not been able to match that tone since then. I don't know what I was doing. I don't think I messed around with any of the settings significantly, but you know what it's like when you've got that perfect sound, and for whatever reason you come back and you can't get it again. And yeah, for the life of me, I just don't know what it is. I can only think it was just at that point where the battery was just starting to tail off, and almost to the point where it was just sounded like farts coming out the amp. But it just, yeah,
That's actually how I feel about my Dingwall. I don't know if it's the strings or maybe I gotta double check what kind of batteries they ship it with. Because when I first got it, I never thought a bass sounded so good. And ever since then, I've been using Pace and strings and just whatever batteries I buy. And the tone is just never, it's maybe 90% there. But I just remember it being so much better when I first got that bass.
yeah,
I even go back and listen to the first covers I did with the bass and find that there is something to it. Maybe it is the strings. I think they use Callium strings for stock strings or something like that.
yeah. Well, so what sort of strings do you use now?
On the Dingwall, it's Payson. And
Yeah.
then with everything else, it's kind of whatever. I really like the Dunlop Super Brights.
Oh, okay.
Those are kind of my go-to, and always nickel. I'm not really a big fan of stainless steel.
No,
Um, I've started using sit strings. I don't know if you've heard of those.
no, I haven't.
I
No.
I think they're an American company. But
Yeah.
even after like getting a discount, after like shipping and exchange and everything, it's still like $50 a set. So yeah, it's kind of brutal.
Yeah. And but how long would you have said like the brightness sort of lasts on them before it starts to sort of tail off a bit?
I mean, I maybe get I'd say within 3 months I'm ready to change them, but I'll try to go 6 months.
Yeah.
A lot of the times for the stuff that's for if I'm going to be playing live and I really want to hear it sound good, especially when I'm using in ears. Like I really want to hear a nice tone.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times for like the YouTube covers, I'm going like a year before I change strings. I'll often like get a list going of songs I want to cover when I get the new strings put on. Say something like Blink 182 or something that I know really benefits from new strings.
Yeah, I'm the same really. About 3 months is when I start thinking about changing them, purely because a lot of the covers I've been doing benefits from a new set of strings. Um, so I've been using Ernie Ball Cobalts. I've got a packet here somewhere. Yeah. 45 to 105.
Yeah.
And yeah, I quite like how they sound. And I've used various iterations of them before. I've used Diodarios as well, and even Fender bass strings as well at one point, but they didn't last as nearly as long as what these do. Like the brightness would sort of really kind of fade 6 weeks, 8 weeks, depending on how long I was using it.
Yeah, I really want to try those. They're called like dragon skin or something. I think they're
Yeah,
D'Addario, but it seems like they're shipping with a lot more bases now. The guy that I'm getting making that bass in Turkey, that's the kind he puts on all his strings. They're coated as well, right? So I did find I would use Elixir, the coated ones, for the main cover band that I played with because we just played so much. And it's,
yeah,
I mean, as much as I do like the good tone and the new strings, at some point, you're just playing for all these drunk people that I'd like, do
yeah.
I need to change my strings? Like, does anyone care? It's just me.
Fence just for yeah. I know what you mean. I mean, because they're about £30 a set, so yeah. I mean, like every 3 months isn't so bad, but I certainly wouldn't want to get a new set for every gig,
No.
just for purely the fact that I know that they're there, and like you say, a lot of people aren't even going to notice. Like 90% of the people watching.
I saw a interview with uh, what's Justin Chancellor,
Yeah,
and he'll get new strings, he'll do sound check, and then new strings after sound check.
mad.
Yeah, like it is new strings. Like the sound of Tool is brand new strings for every note almost.
Yeah, it just seems so wasteful. It's like, is it really fading after just 5 minutes of playing?
Yeah, even getting maybe it'll even just be his low string that gets changed, but still, I guess
Yeah,
if yeah, what are people doing? Are all the strings just going in the garbage? He plays the low E string for 10 minutes at sound check, or even if it's an hour. I
yeah,
doubt he's even sound checking. But whoever is playing his bass during sound check, surely that string is still good.
yeah, yeah.
Well, like what else? I mean, we've covered quite a bit already.
Yeah.
Um, are-
Oh, so the amp I use, that's a Fender Bassman 500. Um, Before that, I've had all sorts. So I started gigging with a PV combo. It was heavy as hell to carry. It was like 120 watts, um, but it had a real great vintage tone to it. It was uh, yeah, it was yeah, absolute back-breaking thing to lug upstairs and things. Um, and then after that, um, I had a Behringer. That was again, I think it was like a 500-watt head and um, four 10-inch cab and a 115 inch speaker cab below it. So it was a hell of a thing again to lug around. But at least if I was at a smaller gig, I could just use like the 410s if need be. Um, and after that, I wanted to downsize and just purely for maneuverability. And when you're in a corner of a small pub somewhere, it doesn't call to have a massive backline. It's nice to just have a um, just a small setup really. So I got a Mark bass, little Mark head. That was again 500 watts. And then there was just a small 210 cabinet, which I don't know if you can see there, is just below the Fender Bassman head.
yeah, that's the Traveler 102P, I think, right?
Yeah, so I'll take that to most gigs that I do. It's only if I'm going somewhere really big where I'll there's another, it's same size, definitely the same two um, speakers in it, but it's got more airspace behind it, so it's a bigger cab. Um, and I'll just double the two of them up. But to be honest, now most of the effort comes out through the PA, so I don't really need a massive backline. So, um, so yeah, I'll just use that wherever I go now because the little Mark was fine, but I wanted more tone to play with. And then this Fender Bassman head came out, and it was all being promoted by the likes of Mike Dirnt, Matt Freeman, even Duff McKagan was promoting it as well. He started using it, so I was like, you know what, if they're using it, I want in on it as well. So um, it was at a point where I wasn't going to spend money on upgrading the bass, so I decided let's spend the money on the amp instead. So I bought that, and yeah, it's been great. I mean, I've been meaning to um, get a matching Fender cab just so that aesthetically it looks the part. But I mean, those little Mark bass cabs just do the job brilliantly. So I just don't really feel the need to buy a Fender cab other than just purely for aesthetics that it matches the cab, matches the head.
And that head has tubes in it, right?
It does,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, yeah, it's a tube preamp.
Oh, okay, not a just a tube preamp. Okay.
Yeah, just two premium 12 AX7 tubes on the preamp.
Okay. Yeah, I've never actually got to play through one of those. I remember when they came out. I remember the
Yeah,
big push for those.
but they seem to have slowed on production of them because the 500 which I've got there, they pretty much discontinued that now. I think they only do the 800 now, or I think there's that might be the only one they do now. Actually, is the 800. I don't think they do the 500 anymore.
No, I think everyone has kind of moved to the Class D solid state.
Yeah,
Because yeah, like
yeah,
you were saying, the house PA does most of the work. Most of my gigs, I was even only bringing an amp because whatever the singer and the guitarist don't use in-ears, so
yeah,
they wanted some bass on stage. But otherwise, I would just show up with no amp.
yeah. It seems to be much more of a common thing now. We went to a wedding back in August, and there was no amps on stage whatsoever. There was just, like the guitarist and the bass player just had a bank of pedals in front of them, and that was it. There was no amps; it was just all the PA. And wow, I mean, if it works for them, great. But there, even the bass player, must have had about 7 or 8 pedals there, and I thought, wow, I mean, his sound didn't strike me when he was playing as overly significant. It was just quite a warm, subtle mix, really, what he was pushing out. But he had about 7 or 8 pedals, and I thought, oh, that's quite a lot of pedals for a bass player.
Especially if all you're hearing is kind of just a regular bass tone.
It was just a pretty warm, subtle mix, really. It wasn't anything out there. I think there was one song where I think he used a wah pedal. Um, but yeah, other than that, it was just fairly modest, fairly, yeah, just keeping the groove in the background. But yeah, I suppose, I mean, if you haven't got an amp, then I guess you have got to significantly model your tone before you stick it out through the PA. Otherwise, it is going to be pretty basic.
Well, I find even at a lot of the bars, the sound guy would have a bass tone in his head, and
Yeah,
like the sound coming out of the PA is how he mixed it. There was one bar where he would take the clean DI signal, part of his tone would be that, and then he would also run an overdrive signal on it, and he'd be mixing them. So regardless of what, I spend all this time trying to get my tone, and all that
and
comes out of the front is his tone.
yeah, completely changing it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he's worked that room for 20 years. So he does know the room. And every time I've seen another band there, it sounds great. But still, like I didn't buy, a dark glass anagram so I could have your Allen and Heath board make my tone.
Yeah, or just
Yeah.
ruin it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's, I haven't had. Although that said, in the studio, The sound engineer completely altered my tone. Um, yeah, it was the last time I went into the studio to do a recording. I had my Mark bass head, um, so that the DI was coming from that. I had the Boss ME50 pedal as well, again with a P bass, so I knew what tone I wanted, and we were basically doing punk covers of pop songs. Um, it's on my um, one of my YouTube playlists, the songs on there, and the tone that he ended up creating was totally different to what I wanted. He almost made it sound like an active bass. He just completely altered it. I mean, it sounded okay, but it didn't sound like a P bass. Almost made it sound like a Music Man from what he did to it, and I was quite shocked at that, really.
Overstepping a little bit there.
Yeah, definitely. But again, I didn't really have much of a say in the tone at that point. It was more about what there was that many guitar layers being added on top and on top. I was just slowly getting buried in the mix at that point. So um, yeah, well, I do stick out at times, but yeah, that's the only thing is I just didn't really like the tone that come out on most of the songs that we did there. Again, I guess that's down to the engineer, isn't it? They've got in their head what they want, and you can ask, but at the end of the day, it still comes down to them what they want to do on the day.
Yeah, and I mean, not to knock engineers, but I've just found so often the idea they have for what they want to do with your tone is based on kind of some new technique they just learned, something
Yeah,
that they're really into just at that moment that they go, oh, I just read about this. We got to try this on your bass. And I'm like, just
yeah.
record it, man. Don't worry about it. I got the tone controlled.
I've experimented recording here, um, with a lot of the stuff I do. I'll have the DI. I'll have two because I don't mic it up for obvious reasons. I'll just have the DI out from the amp, and I'll send it to two tracks. So the first track will be lightly EQ'd. The second track will be completely scooped in that it'll just be more of a sub bass track, and then I'll blend the two afterwards, depending on how little or how much I need to just add that sub bass just to boost it in the mix a bit.
Yeah, that's a
Um,
great idea. It's something on that dark glass anagram. I've seen several videos of guys obsessed with like splitting their signal into high and low pass and
yeah,
then adjusting it through there sort of thing rather than either, boosting the low or rolling off the low. They've got dedicated channels for both of those.
I think you get more of a obviously you're almost like adding like double tracking your bass track effectively, rather like you do with guitar. Um, and I guess you do get more of a thicker sound overall by doing that. Um, but then at the same time, you get the same thing by having it mic'd and DI'd in two separate tracks. You're effectively double tracking the bass track by doing that. But like me, but only just doing it for the DI, it just seemed to add more of a fuller sound by sending one lightly mixed or lightly EQ'd and the other one completely scooped so that only the low end comes through.
When I remember reading, at least on some Queen recordings, they're grabbing like the mic, a direct, and there's something else. I know there were times where they were using like three tracks for the bass just to get
Yeah,
whatever sound that they were looking for. But that you can like the DI track is really in there.
yeah, yeah. Some of the stuff they did on the Queen records are just yeah. Like what one of the Invisible Man, the bass sound on that is just yeah incredible. And Breakthrough, the other one, that just drives throughout the whole song. It's just yeah incredible, really. They were really ahead of their game with the mixing of those albums. That's for sure.
And it's all stuff that now we kind of have access to in your room.
Yeah, yeah. what was that one? That track where they really when stereo first became a thing, and Freddie's voice was he was saying, "Now I'm here, now I'm there," and he's just messing around with the whole stereo thing. What song was that? But yeah, they were really experimenting and just playing around with new technology at that point.
Yeah, I mean, that's all stuff we just take for granted now, right?
As it was all cutting edge then, it was just like a dawn of a new era for them. Yeah, I find now like a lot of pop music, like the last, I guess from like the late 2000s to like 2017, 2018, pop music just become very dull, very sterile, just a singer and a piano, a singer and acoustic guitar. There was no real melody or any kind of music behind it. It was just all about the singer and how high they could sing or how low they could sing. It was just all about them, and it just got very dull and very boring generally, I found. And then it's only recently when I think musicians are or pop groups are tending to go back and find a catchy melody or think more about the music rather than the singer.
Well, and that's something I was just going to ask. Are there any new bands that you've heard recently where you thought, "Oh, thank God, like some people are making music."
There's definitely quite a few. I mean, I've been dabbling with Taylor Swift's Ophelia song because I think with the song structure, I think I'm in the process of just like adding a few guitar tracks and bass tracks and just rocking it up a little bit. And but the structure's there just to play around with it. And Sabrina Carpenter's another one. She's got some great songs that musically are really quite something. Um, and there's a few other things like Bruno Mars tends to some of his stuff as well. And when because he collaborates a lot with who's that songwriter? His name will come to me in a minute. You might have to help me.
Mark Ronson.
Johnson,
Yeah.
yeah, he's really good. Um, Definitely songwriting wise. So yeah, there's a lot of pop stuff that's come back round again that it's taken my interest. Um, and I keep discovering old stuff that I've never heard before. I mean, Spotify, for all its quarrels and how it's killed a lot of artists from being able to make any decent wage these days, it is good for discovering new music. I will give it that. Um, but yeah, um, so yeah, if I got my Spotify playlist going, and then once it's finished the playlist, it will start playing similar music, and I can just go down a rabbit hole of all these old artists that I've never heard before, or artists that I'm familiar with, and they'll play songs by them I've never heard before, and it's like, oh, I'll save that and come back to that, and yeah, I'm just on this path of discovery at the moment, finding all these new or old bands that I've never really listened to in the past. So, but yeah, certainly in chart wise at the moment, there's more stuff I'm interested in now than I was 10 years ago. I think I wouldn't even give it a second listen sort of 10 years ago. But now I certainly do listen to it more openly now. But how about you? How do you sort of find uh, modern music now?
I mean, it is a lot of just YouTube rabbit holes,
Yeah,
and that's kind of it. Or I often even find, say, someone on Instagram, maybe that I don't even really know but follow, post
yeah,
something on their story with some song attached to it, and I found music that way as well.
yeah. There's a band on Instagram. Well, I think they're um, YouTube as well. Is it Stop, Drop, Rewind? Have you heard of them? They're
Nope.
bass players. Yeah. Um, they are absolutely incredible. They're what you call is it math? Not math rock, where they're just noodling, but in a way which is it serves the song, and it's just the sheer talent behind all of them is just incredible to listen to. Um, and they do a lot of covers, but also their own stuff as well. So yeah, they're really good. And when you hear um, In fact, when you hear some of the bass players on YouTube, you just sort of listen to them and think, wow, that makes me want to quit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible, some of the talent that's out there at the moment. Um,
Well, what about any local bands? Like, is there a good music scene there? I assume you're kind of too busy to be going to local shows all the time.
I mean, there is a lot of locally. There are some good bands out there, and there are some festivals locally. We've got three sort of big festivals in the area. So there's a charity concert down the road, and there's one local to us called Rock and Ribs, which is like an American themed music festival where they've got like eating competitions and loads of big bands on American trucks, American cars are like the main theme there, and then this music festival tagged onto it. It's there's a lot of good tribute bands as well as original bands that sort of play there. That's it's well worth a watch. But yeah, I mean, locally the music scene is slowly being quashed by the fact that all our local pubs are slowly closing one by one because people are drinking less, people are going out less, people are socializing less. So it's hit the sort of live music scene really hard the last sort of 10 years. And even venues that want to put on music can't afford to pay bands any significant wage. So you find yourself battling with the organizer for at least an acceptable amount of money, so you're not basically paying them to play, and at the same time not screwing them over, and the fact that they're struggling themselves. So that is really hard at the moment for, for live bands locally because they've got very few places to play at the moment. That my local city, Salisbury, there was quite a good live music venue there that had a open mic night once a month. I went to that last year, and that was quite good. But that place is since shut now, so yeah, you are limited on what you can do. I mean, the band that I play in, they've been playing for 20 years plus, and they've noticed a significant drop off in venues they can play at. So it's getting harder for local live music, definitely. I don't know what it's like in Canada, but certainly over here, it's getting increasingly difficult for bands to find somewhere to play to an audience.
Oh yeah, I would say it's about the same. That
Yeah,
even yeah, the places that play, it's kind of not even worth the pay that they're going to give. And I understand like they can't give anymore. It's not
yeah,
they're not necessarily being cheap. They just don't want to go broke paying
yeah,
bands. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, not so great.
yeah,
And I can't get over when, there was a time, say in the 70s, where beer was 10 cents and bands were playing 7 nights a week and everybody made money. Now beer is
yeah,
$10. Nobody's
yeah.
making any money.
No, it's definitely different. Which again is another reason why I've decided to do more YouTube. So I mean, I'm playing to an audience that I don't really know whether they like it or not, especially if they're not really responding to or interacting with the video in any way. But it's something. It's a way of keeping my hand in without not doing anything at all. So especially in a time when it is increasingly difficult for bands to play live to an audience, I think there's going to be more bands playing just on YouTube alone rather than going out and gigging. Um, I definitely think that's going to become more of a common thing in years to come.
I do like getting to stay in my pajamas.
Yeah, it is nice in that respect. I have to leave the house, but to me, there's no better feeling than playing live on a stage in front of an audience. I mean, playing at home is okay, but it's nice in the fact that the effort's minimal. But actually going out to a gig and playing is, yeah, especially when you've got a good audience and you get a good response from the crowd. It's just, yeah, it's a nice feeling.
Yeah, there's nothing like it. The people who just practice at home are, I, there are like YouTube guitarists, right, who have never gigged and never done any of that stuff, and they're super missing out.
Yeah, absolutely. But then, yeah, again, at the same time, there's little um, opportunity for them to do it now, or it's just getting harder and harder. Um, there's a live music venue about 20 minutes away from here. They have quite a few big artists playing, and well, I say big artists, like like signed artists, but not necessarily been in the top 10 charts, but or older bands that have sort of gone away and come back again and just started touring again, because I find so many bands now where Spotify have basically killed their income. They've got to either tour or sell merchandise. So you find bands now they'll be touring nearly all the time now. They might have a break for 6 months, then they're back out touring again. They'll just relabel their tour, or if they have an anniversary of their album that has been released like 10, 15 years ago, they'll do have like a 15-year anniversary tour and go out touring, playing. It's like 2 years ago we saw Green Day at Wembley Stadium. They did their Saviours tour, but they played a few songs from that album, but it was more the anniversary of American Idiot and Dookie, and they played both albums back to back, which was incredible to see. I mean, they must have been shattered after finishing playing all those songs plus any extra songs they played. I mean, it was a hell of a night, but I guess, yeah, that is their way of making money now, is through big tours and ticket sales. Because yeah, gone are the days of them selling multiple platinum albums, and it's just all streaming's killed all that now.
Yeah, I mean, they were at least lucky to get in the 90s when you could. I feel like that whole, say, up to the late 90s, maybe
Yeah,
early 2000s, was when you could still sell albums and it actually made a difference.
yeah,
But I
yeah,
mean, now the bands I'm in, we don't even make albums. Like, we maybe will have like a digital download, but you only make like a physical. The one band I was in, we just made like a giant postcard kind of thing that you could
yeah,
buy if you wanted, and it came with a code. So you at least got some kind of art, but
yeah.
it's just not worth it to make an album, like a physical one.
No, because no one's. I mean, yeah, you've only got the niche now of vinyl, but then if you're a new band, it's people aren't necessarily going to buy uh, a vinyl of a band that's new or they've not really known before. They want vinyls of stuff that they've listened to in the past, or old stuff that old vinyls that are holding their value, but as they've become collectible. But yeah, certainly album wise, yeah, I mean, very few people. I mean, CD players are just a thing of the past now, and like I've still got most of my old CDs in a box somewhere
Yeah, me
in the,
too.
and I don't think I've got the heart to get rid of them, but they are just sat there doing nothing because I've got no reason to play them.
Yeah, and even oh, I lost it. I was going to add something to it, but I lost it.
Yeah.
Um, well, I don't know. Do you remember what the last like big show you went to was?
So the last big show I went to is probably Bowling for Soup. I saw them at Cardiff last year. Um, and do you know what? That was the first time I'd seen them before. And have you seen Bowling for Soup live before? So it was different to any show I'd seen before in the fact that there was a bar on the stage, and so that to most people, they've got like half a dozen sort of songs that were sort of quite popular, quite famous. So they did a lot of talking between songs, and then Jarrett would go to the bar, and he'd have a drink, and he'd just be talking, and there was a lot of talking. I've said a good third of their time on stage was talking, and at one point they stopped completely, and he said, "Do you want to hear?" I don't know if you know the band that's quite popular over here at the moment called Punk Rock Factory. Have you
Yeah.
heard them before? So He said, "Do you want to hear Punk Rock Factory?" And they just came out on stage and started playing, and they played a couple of songs. It was like, okay, this is different and not what we are expecting, but yeah. So they just came and sort of took the lead really. They played a couple of songs. They went off. More talking happened, and then he played a few more songs. So um, they were on obviously on stage for a good sort of hour and a half, but they didn't actually play that many songs because they were either talking or getting someone else to play for them.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, it was really. I'd never known anything like that before. But yeah, it was a good night. I think Less Than Jake were one of the opening acts, and who else? I can't remember the name. Yeah, was it? I want Zebrahead. No, that was Goldfinger. No, name's gone. Yeah, so that was the last big band I saw, but um, there's quite a lot of choice, and I keep seeing bands come up that are playing locally, and I think I must get a ticket for that, and I just don't get round to it. But yeah, I need to see another band this year because it's been nearly a year since I've been out and seen a big band play live. So yeah, how about you?
I mean, I did get to see, we were talking about older bands now touring again to promote 30th anniversary of some album.
Yeah.
I saw Crash Test Dummies. Do you know those
Oh,
guys? Saw them in a casino, like a tiny casino, one that I've played and stuff like that. So it was nice to, they just played nothing but the hits.
yeah,
Let everybody went home by 10 o'clock or something like that. And it was such a nice small venue, not too loud. Could hear everything just fine. And that
yeah,
also Sloan. I don't know if you know those guys. They're
yeah,
big Canadian band, but they're even playing like curling rinks here. They'll just kind of, I don't know if it's the industry is that destitute that even
yeah,
Sloan, like one of the biggest Canadian bands, is just being like, you got a curling rink, we'll play it. But yeah, it's been great to see bands like that in smaller venues where 10 years ago I wouldn't have been able to, 20 years ago.
no, they'd just been playing bigger places. Yeah, it's nice when bands that play at a small, intimate venue.
Yeah, I mean, I feel bad for them if they're just scraping by or something like that. But in both instances, it was sold out and everyone's paying a good price for the tickets. So it seemed like lots of people are buying merch. So hopefully,
Yeah, I mean, it must have been 15, well, probably 15, 20 years ago. I saw Bare Naked Ladies play in um, somewhere in Bristol. I went to see them, and that was a small, intimate venue. Um, but yeah, they were outstanding live, really good. But they add a lot of comedy to their material as well because it was almost like a comedian and a band at the same time. So yeah, I've got good memories of seeing them, and I mean their bass player is incredible,
yeah, yeah, Jim Keegan, yeah,
very good. Um, yeah, um, one of the warm up acts for them, strangely enough, again was a similar kind of comedy act, but he had a MIDI guitar and he was jumping between doing like dinner jazz on a piano on his guitar and then just doing all strange sound effects for it, and that was really quite a good kind of warm-up act that I've never seen before and never actually seen anything like that since. Just someone playing a MIDI guitar, just doing sound effects and other really cool, funny stuff through it.
yeah. That is bizarre. It does. I saw Conan O'Brien in the one year that he was like banned from television for a year, and he came and did a big tour, like a variety act where there a comedian opened for him, and then he would do some talking. He played some guitar, played some songs with the band, and then more talking, more jokes, an interview with someone, and then he's running around the whole venue with his wireless guitar, and kind of sounds like that's what those were. Not quite to that extent, maybe, but a bit more of a variety show than a band.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, on that note, can you think of anything else that you want to add? Is there something that we missed?
So, yeah, we talked about the bass, and we've touched quite well on the struggles of being left-handed. And did you was there any guitar that, or sorry, any bass rather, that you really wanted but you just couldn't have because it just wasn't available in left-handed?
I mean, I think even just certainly growing up, I'd never even seen like an American Fender.
Yeah.
Like that as a kid, that would have been something I would have died for, as a some American Fender guitar or bass. I remember I really wanted like a custom shop Strat as a kid. And back then it was like $2,500 for a custom shop Strat. And I wish I'd bought one then.
Yeah, because
'Cause
now it's
I mean, 15 grand if you want like your
yeah.
super spec'd out one or something.
I can remember going into a shop and asking for a quote um, for Fender to make me a left-handed Mike Dirnt Precision, and yeah, that was about 2.5 grand then, and it'd be more like 10 to 15 now. It's just it's crazy how much it's gone up. And the silly thing is that they just run CNC programs. All they've got to do is take the program and just mirror flip it and press go, and
That's what
that's all
I,
they need.
yeah, I would have thought by now CNC machines can handle left-handed versus right-handed.
Oh, easily.
But even I talked to Dingwall about getting a left-handed, a Canadian-made Dingwall, and they said for no amount of money will they make it left-handed. Like it's out of the question.
Yeah, why?
And even them, I mean, a lot of that, the custom shop Dingwall would be hand by hand. So
Yeah,
the luthier can't do left-handed, I guess.
I mean the only other than the actual shape and the neck and everything, the only difference is like which I found the hard way of the electronics is when I rewired um, my precision bass for the first time. I just looked at the wiring diagram and just did it all, and then realised that obviously all the pots I'd wired back to front, so off was on and on was off, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So yeah, I had to. In fact, on the my Strat, which is again a copy, I rewired that and did the same and ended up so I just live with it. So off is on is off.
Yeah. That was actually one of the things I went to order a Kiesel bass because I wanted a headless, something nice and light, and they'll make anything left-handed. And so I
Yeah.
was talking to the sales rep and had to double check about the electronics and say, is it going to be right-handed electronics in it? And he just said, yep, we do all our stuff on a PCB, so everything's just wired up right-handed. And I said, why am I paying for a custom bass with
Yeah.
right-handed parts in it? And I just said, you know what? Scrap the whole order. I'm done. I'm not going to order a Kiesel. And that's when I bought I have that left-handed Ibanez headless.
Yeah.
And that has all left-handed electronics and it's on PCB and like the taper and everything is adjusted for a left-handed player. So somehow Ibanez can do it for 2 grand, but Kiesel can't do it for 4 or 5 grand.
Thing won't do it at all.
Yeah. And the
It's
sales rep actually told me, don't worry about it. Just buy a volume pedal and adjust your volume with a pedal. And that's the insanity of like a right-handed person. They
I
just,
know, and
they don't care. They want you to solve all your own left-handed problems because they aren't their problem.
or they'll say just buy a right-handed one and just flip it upside down and change the nut out.
Yeah.
It's fine, but your forearm's going to be digging into all the volume and tone control and messing around with it whilst you're playing. You're going to end up either switching yourself up or putting on an unwanted tone, rubbing the controls. And yeah, it's just, and obviously the body contours are all going to be wrong as well. So it's just going to be uncomfortable from the get-go, really. Um, so yeah, it's just another thing that bugs me.
Yeah.
Um, but about 15 years ago, I think on Music Man's website, they were offering more of a tailored custom build option to pretty much anything you wanted in the Sterling or Stingray 4 or 5 string. You could select whichever orientation, left, right-handed, any color from their little list of options. But that seems to have gone now. You don't necessarily have that option anymore.
They just started doing it again.
They have.
Yeah, I was just on the website maybe a month ago or something like that, and they have an online builder just like the Mod Shop or Warmouth, or
Yeah.
so you can actually build a left-handed bass now. You can spec it all out, and
Is there much of a price difference?
I don't think there's any price difference, but I mean the starting price is like 3,000 US. So it's too much. I can't risk it.
No. I mean, again, it's something that hasn't really appealed to me. I mean, to be fair, there are now more left-handed Stingrays and Sterlings on the second-hand market because there's obviously been more of them made as time's gone on. But yeah, it's just something that I never wanted it that much that I've got a spare £2,000 to spend to buy one. Again, with Rickenbackers, the same. I've liked the idea of having one. I went into a shop in London, and it was purely by chance. I walked in there, and there was a left-handed, is it a 401?
Yeah, 4001 or something. Yeah.
There was a black 4001 up on the wall there, left-handed one. I was like, oh wow. I was like, can I try that? They were like, are you left-handed? Like, yeah. He was like, yeah, sure, try it. So I sat there for a good half an hour playing it, and yeah, that was like £2,000 then to buy it, and I liked it, but I just didn't like it that much. Yeah, just couldn't bring myself to buy it. So yeah, it's that's the other thing is if you want to try something out, to go to a shop, I mean, right-handed basses in a guitar shop are never normally more than 10, 15 of them in there. You're very lucky if you've got one left-handed bass, let alone more than one. Um, Left-handed guitars, there's normally, two or three if the shop's of a decent size. But yeah, bass-wise, you're lucky if there's one in there, and it might be just a Squire or just a basic starter bass.
Yeah, I mean here it's like a Mexican Fender jazz bass, and that's
Yeah.
about all you'll find. I did go
So
to maybe the biggest music store in Canada, in Toronto, and
yeah.
they had three or four left-handed basses, and one of them was an American made, a California made Stingray,
Oh wow.
and it actually was maybe one of the nicest basses I've ever played, especially just pulling it off the rack like that. It needed no adjustments, felt great, sounded great, but
Yeah.
3,500. There's not like you're either going to get like the $300 left-handed bass or the $3,500. Like there's no, give me like a 1,500 or something like that. There's no option.
In the middle. Just meet me in the middle somewhere. But same with these tone comparison videos that you see. There's so many of them now, where they'll have £400-500 bass, and you'd have like real high end £2,000-3,000 one. And sometimes you find that the one at £400 it sounds better than like the high end one. It just really does vary, and not always what you'd expect.
No, and then even playability on top of that, even the cheaper
Yeah,
one might even feel better, even if it's just personally you like the shape of the neck or whatever it
yeah,
ends up being. And sometimes those cheaper instruments have, say, underwound pickups that actually sound more vintage because they
yeah,
aren't, going for some crazy modern sound.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it would be nice if there was more in sort of mid-range, sort of price range, left-handed bass-wise that was more readily available because there's like your Rickenbackers and your Sterlings and your Stingrays that there are a fairly reasonable amount of them on the second-hand market now, but there's just nothing really in the middle. And I was lucky to find which sort of sat quite nicely in the middle of it was what 1,000 it was $1,000 to get from Japan, and I managed to knock them down to 900, thinking that I'd have to pay because obviously once it comes over here, I've then got to pay import tax, which was I think another £100. So by knocking them down £100, I was still only paying like £1,000 in the end. But the exchange rate was pretty good in the end as well. So say 900 in total when you take the exchange rate into account as well.
That's a great price for that bass.
Yeah, definitely, and it was so rare as well. And the funny thing is, since I bought that, another one identical came up for sale in the UK, up in up north, because I'm like down at the bottom end of the country. Um, but it had a massive ding on the back, and yeah, quite a dent in the back. And whereas this one, other than light pitting on the metalwork, is yeah, there's not a mark on it.
Yeah, those
So
those deals don't come around too often. Even the first kind of real bass I bought, the Japanese 62 reissue. I
yeah,
bought that on eBay as well from some guy I think in New York. And of course it like had like a little some chunks missing and the neck was actually a little twisted, which is why it has a Warmoth neck on it.
yeah,
But just at the time, I mean, you didn't know eBay had that was 2003, so eBay didn't really have that much going on in terms of buyer protection or anything like that. But I mean, it ended up being a good base.
yeah.
But I think even then, yeah, maybe it was like 1,000, 1,200 or something like that. Still pretty expensive.
Yeah, but it's sort of that. It's still just about affordable within like most people's sort of pay packets of yeah. It's- Whereas yeah, the other stuff like your Ricks and your Sterlings, that sort of yeah. And then even when you get into like mod shop territory, I think I looked at 'cause it's quite fun just to have a play around with the little generator online and just generate a precision that came out at I think 2,200, which again is crazy money for a precision bass. Um, but I think even to be fair, the American ones are sort of getting quite close to that now.
Oh,
Um,
for sure. I mean, here, like the Ultra series is like 3,500 or something like that. And even the, say, the Vintera series that's made in Mexico, those are 1,500, something like that, even 2 grand for some of them, I think. So it
yeah,
is, I mean, even the classic Vibe Squires are now 600.
yeah, it's mad. And then like the player, which is essentially a Mexican, and then you've got the player two, and then the player plus, and it's just I can see what they're trying to do, trying to bridge the gap between a Mexican and American,
Yeah.
but they're just relabeling the same thing over again to me.
I mean, pretty much, yeah, a different color, still
Yeah,
built in the exact same factory by the same guy.
yeah,
And now it's, $500 more because it's the Player Plus, because we threw in a battery in it.
yeah. Did you see the I was saying how poor choice there is for left-handed with just normally being black sunburst and although now white seems to be more common across the Fender range, which is great. I mean, if I'd have known that 15 years ago, I'd have bought one. But there we go. Um, there was a Player Plus in it was like a burst between blue and white.
I know the
You see,
one, yeah.
I was looking at that and I thought I didn't know whether I liked it or I hated it. And to this day, I just look at it and it just to me it's bizarre. It just I don't know whether I like it or not. But it's definitely different. But yeah, maybe a little bit too different. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because they came out, they had like a kind of red to orange to white one as well, right?
That looked better, but the blue to white one, it just to me it just seemed a bit too harsh. It just yeah, but yeah, it's definitely different and nice to see something different from black or sunburst. But yeah, it's definitely an odd looking thing.
But yeah, I'm just looking up right now, like the price of an American Professional is 2,700 Canadian.
Yeah,
The American, they have a Ultra Lux, and that's 4,200.
wow.
So the prices are just going insane. A Player 2 is 1,400.
Yeah,
Uh, a Vintera is 1,400 as well.
I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't know who they're trying to fool really with those prices and those different labels they put on.
it's
Is
amazing what the Fender logo can do for a price.
yeah, definitely.
And that's why I'd rather get, I mean, what I'd really like to find, even for the warmest that I have, is I've seen I think it's John Flansburgh from They Might Be Giants. I think that's where I saw it. He has a Fender Custom Shop Telly, and
Yeah.
since he's left-handed, the Fender logo on the headstock is reversed, as though it's like in a mirror, which I think looks kind of neat. You know, the whole guitar is kind of a mirror. So if I could find a some company to build me or print me off mirrored Fender logos, I might put those on my Warmoth.
Yeah.
Because then you know it's not real because it's mirrored.
Yeah.
But
Definitely. That's not a bad idea, actually. I mean, there must be companies. I mean, I've looked at there's companies that will do custom decals.
yeah,
So there must be one, and even ChatGPT will make you a decal up if from nothing if you want it to. And I'm sure there's got to be a company that will do a water slide decal for you.
yeah, you know, I
Um,
think there is actually a local guy called like Uncle Stinky or something. It's some his name. I when I heard it, I thought I don't know about that name, but he does. He'll print off. You know, if you want your family name as the Fender logo or whatever, he'll print off all that stuff.
I guess the funny thing is that if you were to go down that route, have this custom made guitar with a mirror flipped Fender logo, and then if you played with the camera flipped, it would look like you're playing a right-handed Fender, and the logo would be facing the right way.
Yeah, it's a victimless crime. No one
Yeah,
needs to know yet.
no, definitely not. No one would know. Maybe if you had stuff in the background with writing on and that was all flipped, they might start asking questions. But I find it's hilarious. A lot of the time I'm looking at videos online and I think, oh wow, that's a really good looking left-handed bass. No, they've just got the camera flipped. I'm there looking for telltale signs if they've got anything in the background with writing on so that I can see if they're actually left-handed or not.
Yeah, well, I mean, I do the same thing too. And anytime I see it's a right-handed person, I think, why would you want to look left-handed?
Yeah, why? Annoying me. Yeah,
It seems like appropriation of our struggles as left-handed people.
yeah.
So,
You're damned that we can actually get the guitar that you've got, but no, we can't. Yeah.
I'm just looking over the questions again. I really think we've covered, I think, most of the stuff here. And I don't want to keep you up too late either. I know it's what is it like 11 o'clock?
I haven't actually got a pocket. Actually, no. Oh yeah, 10 past 11. Yeah, 10 past 11 at the moment. So yeah, no, it's been nice. It's been great to chat and yeah, and share our matched woes of being a left-handed and the struggles that we both had. Yeah, it's been nice.
Yeah, I mean, only another lefty can understand it, right?
Yeah, definitely. Um, but yeah, it's. I think even if I did have the chance to start again, and would I have chosen to be right-handed? I don't think I would have done. I think I'd have still chosen to be to play left-handed, and I think yeah, the beauty of it is if I chose to play again now or start from scratch now, there'd be much more choice of model now than what there was 20 years ago when I first started playing because things have come a long way for the better for us for choice wise, but there's still always that one model that you always want that you can probably never get. But yeah, at least if you're going to take a positive from it, you can't. You're not going to have a room full of guitars because there isn't the guitars available, or at least the ones you want. So that temptation to just keep buying guitars as a lefty, you don't have that luxury because there's just not the model choice available. So you end up saving money by in that respect.
Oh, the number of times I've thought, like, how broke would I be if I was right-handed?
Oh,
Like, I'm
definitely.
already, pushing myself to the limit buying gear. Had I been
Yeah,
right-handed, I would have been probably broke and homeless or something.
yeah, yeah. I'd have been the same. I'd have had to have justified all these. And the thing is, the bargains would come up because even on like Facebook Marketplace, I see guitars come up all the time and think that's like 10 minutes down the road from me. I'd have been incredibly tempted to buy that if I was right-handed. But yeah,
You could always turn into some guy who just flips gear.
Yeah, I've been tempted to see how I get on with this warmer build, but I might be half tempted to buy a warmer kit, put it all together, play it for a bit, and then sell it on. Because there's not too many. In fact, I haven't seen any left-handed warmer guitars, or well, basses rather, for sale on eBay over here or locally whatsoever. So I think, well, if there's none for sale, then surely if I made one, then to a reasonable standard, then I should be able, if I play it for a bit, do a few YouTube videos, and then sell it on again. And yeah, maybe there's some money to be made there. I don't know. Well, not significant, but
No,
just
and
for
I
the
mean, it seems like in general, you'll even make more money if you just piece it out again and sell the neck to someone, sell the body to someone. Because sometimes it is like, you built your Warmoth. Nobody else wants your custom shop combination sort of thing. But maybe some guy wants the neck, some guy wants the body. But yeah, you never know. You might end up building some bass that's like some guy's dream bass.
well, even if I went through the artist series, um, so I might start with like a don't one, and then go down a Mark Hoppus route because they're all models that you can't make from standard models by simply repainting them or making alterations. They are like a 51 body with split precision pickups, or a jazz body with a precision pickup, or like with Duff's, that's a jazz bass special, which again isn't available in left-handed to my knowledge. So I could go down the Warmoth route, make them, obviously not sell them as um, anything more than just a copy, but the fact that not even a copy exists of those models, there could be a market to sell them on again.
Yeah,
If I
that
don't,
that's a cool idea actually. Build left-handed artist series. Yeah.
because they're just something that you can't simply buy a precision and then reiterate them by swapping parts out to make it an artist series model. You'd have to literally go down a warmer route of taking a slab body and just making alterations to the routing that way by your own custom choice. So something I might do in the future, and then again do a YouTube making of video of how I made it, do a few videos playing it, and then sell it on. Maybe, I don't know.
No, it's a cool idea. And certainly I mean, having the YouTube videos, it's helped me sell a few basses. The fact that there
Yeah,
were a bunch of videos of me playing the bass, and
yeah,
it moves stuff a lot quicker. And it makes you seem more legit as well, that you're not running a scam because it's clearly
yeah.
you in the video playing the bass. So
It exists. Yeah, yeah. So that might be something I do in the future. Because again, I find like the Facebook algorithm changing all the time, and the doing covers. I think the golden era for doing covers is sort of is past. Really, I'm sort of too late to the game for it because. Um, but doing something like a making of, or um, even like reviewing a pedal or product seem to get quite a lot of views. So I might channel off and start doing more of that sort of thing in the future. But I mean, I'll always do covers because it's an excuse for me to play, and I'm never gonna, I don't think, stray away from that. Because I don't think I'm going to be going back to gigging once a month anytime soon. So yeah, there's always going to be that need for me to play, and that excuse for me to play as well. So
yeah, man, that sounds like a good idea. Anything to keep is 1 foot in music, even if it's 2 feet, but just half of the feet or something like that. And
yeah,
I know when I'm watching or if I'm looking up stuff about pedals, I'll end up watching like every single video about the
yeah,
pedal that I can find. So it
yeah,
is a nice way to make sure you're going to get some eyes on the video.
definitely. And a lot of videos that I watch, especially when they're doing a product review, you'll have someone in a shop playing the bass, and I don't think a lot of the time they're primarily a bass player. I think they're a guitarist. as their first choice, and they just do the same things on the bass. Like they'll start doing a 12 bar with the fingers, then they'll just go off on a tangent of slapping the hell out of it for 10 minutes, and it's like, that's not what I want to hear you play. I want to hear you play some more rock stuff, some more heavier stuff. So it's just something more interesting than just noodling it, a slap lick. And yeah, I think maybe if I was to do something a bit different or less typical of the usual reviews that some of them have done, maybe that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't hurt anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've even thought about doing a review of the Aerodyne, maybe, but there's been quite a few of those done already. So, but I certainly will, once I finish it, do a review and start to finish of the pickup swap out, because I set the camera up overhead and did like almost like a time lapse of removing the old pickup, soldering in the new ones. It took me about an hour to do it in real time, and I've just sort of shrunk it down to about 4 or 5 minutes. Me going at the speed of lightning.
Yeah.
Swap. So, yeah, when I've finally finished putting that together, that will probably be about 12, 15 minutes video. And then towards the end of the video, which I've done a before and after, which again, when you take a lot of product reviews, you'll hear the bass on its own, but you won't necessarily always hear the bass in a mix. You might hear it with a drum track, but you won't hear it as it was in a mix. So the last two videos or clips of before and after, I will do of it in a mix, in a full mix, so that you can just hear what subtle differences there might be. Because a lot of time, when bass is heard in the mix, there's only a limited amount of the frequency range that you can actually hear of it, which will probably be less apparent in the before and after of the pickups when it actually gets heard in the mix.
Well, yeah, and for me, that's one of the biggest kind of motivators for making a video is going, this is what I would like to see. I don't
Yeah.
see anybody doing this. I'll do it.
Yeah.
You know, I have never come across another podcast where it's just YouTube based on YouTube bass players.
Yeah.
And I watched so many of them. So I thought this is what I want to see on YouTube anyways, is just two guys talking about bass.
Yeah. Definitely. There's definitely a lack of it. And yeah, I think over time you're going to get quite a good set of videos on there. I mean, the first two I watched, and it's also, again, for me, a good opportunity just to not only see the video, but it's to see the player as well, because the first two videos you put up, I've started following both of them, and the guy, is it the budgie or canary on his shoulder?
Oh yeah, Justin, yeah.
Yeah, that was quite an entertaining video to watch. But yeah, that's his niche, and it works, doesn't it? Because it's taps into animal lovers as well as bass players. So yeah, it's good. I mean, I've seen there's a video or a bass player. He'll play bass lines with weights on his back. Have you seen that?
I don't think so.
Yeah, he's got quite popular on Instagram at the moment, and I think he might be on Facebook. But yeah, he'll be in a gym with like 50, 60 kilos on his back, and he'll be slapping as he's dropping down and lifting back up again as well. It's just, but he's got thousands of followers just from doing that basically, and obviously you got your big guys like your Scott's Bass Lessons, and then you've got Danny 401, 501.
Oh, Davey 504.
Yeah.
Maybe thinking like Danny Sapko or something.
So Danny Sapko, I follow him as well, and again, they've all tapped into their own sort of niches, and you've got your Charles Berthoud as well. I mean, he's an incredible player, and yeah, I mean, I dread to think how much practice he put in to get to that level, but it's outstanding, really. Um, Again, there's some sort of players you listen to and you think, I don't want to play bass ever again. Yeah, because yeah, they're on a different level completely. Um, yeah,
Well, you know what? I'm gonna have to stand up. I've been sitting down too long.
yeah. No,
I'm
I
sure
don't
you
blame.
could use a break as well.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, how long have we been talking now?
I got 2.5 hours.
Wow,
Yeah.
really? Yeah. Well, I think yeah, I'm happy to call it if you are.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
like I was saying to Jackson in the first episode, like I'll have you on again. There's always more to talk about, right? So,
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we've got time to have a chat and talk about and think about more stuff you want to talk about or focus on. So yeah, I'd love to. That'd be great.
yeah, maybe even eventually I'll try to get bit of a round table. Have a few
Yeah,
of us all on and we can nitpick the things about bass.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, I've got with the nature of my interface, I can even like just demonstrate tones and things whilst talking at the same time if that's what you wanted to do at some point. So um, yeah, I'll just go through like settings and stuff and before and after and talk to you about it. So yeah, we can that's something we can look at as well, maybe.
Yeah, I'm into that too. Yeah. Have like a playing dedicated episode sort of thing.
Yeah,
Dedicated episode.
yeah, yeah. Great. Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, we can be officially done. The official Bass Covers podcast.
Okay. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot for coming on. I appreciate it.
No problem. And
Right.
let's
Yeah. Talk to you soon.